everyone, and welcome back to the Marketer of the Day podcast. We are here with John Meese from johnmeese.com and from platformuniversity.com. John Meese is the Dean of Michael Hyatt Platform University. He leads a team focused on simplifying online marketing for professionals, and he runs 3 successful businesses, including a co-working space, and maybe we'll jump into how that's kind of been a mixed bag with recent events. But John's passion is teaching entrepreneurs and busy professionals how to systematize their business and build an engaged online audience. John, glad to be talking to you.
Glad to be here, Robert. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you. And I think I read Michael Hyatt's platform book about 10 or 11 years ago. I know a few people who know him, but I haven't actually known him. But Michael Hyatt has always amazed me when, back before social media was really a huge thing and he had a blog with comments, every blog post had 100 to 600 comments. And then on social, he always gets this hundreds of comments. He's a huge beast of marketing, and I think I took the life score at one point. He
Great.
does a lot of things right, and it would be I'm excited to find out about him, about you, about what you have going on. So how are things these last however many weeks it's been? Like I don't even know what month it is or what day it is, but these last several weeks or several months, what has been your passion? What have you been working on?
Well, you mean the last several weeks or several months while the world's been turned upside down, or?
Yeah, when we have no idea what time of day it is, what day of the week it is, but somehow time just moves so slow. It feels like this year has been 10 years.
Yeah, I've been walking every morning from my house over on 2nd Avenue in Columbia, Tennessee, to my private office, formerly known as Cowork Columbia, my giant private office, formerly known as a co-working space. I've been walking every morning here just to kind of like get some physical activity in my day. And so this morning I was passing one of the guys who like is sitting outside washing cars for people every day. He looked at me, he was like, another day, John. I said, yeah, another day. I said, what is today? And like legitimately this morning, I couldn't figure it out. I mean, I thought like, maybe it's Friday. He said, no, it's Thursday. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, that's just the world we're in right now. It's a little weird for sure. So, I've been good, all things considered. I mean, the reality is like so much to be grateful for. It's weird though. I mean, like so I run Platform University as the brand director. And, so Michael Hyatt started Platform University, and then I took it over 3 years ago as a really, like, I still work with Michael, but I really just took it forward to say, like, we want to kind of like go into the new frontier of what does this look like to have a dedicated team focused on helping people build an online audience around their expertise and monetize that. So that's been, that's kept me very busy, and it's in an exciting way. But one of the things that I've been fascinated with for several years has been this idea of co-working spaces and how they create this physical community. As someone who does digital marketing all day long, essentially. So maybe January 15th, 2020 wasn't the best time to open a co-working space, but I did it. And so we were open for 58 days before we closed voluntarily, and then an executive order kept us closed. And so I think today's day 49 that we've been closed. So, however, in the midst of that, I will say one of the things that I've learned from like personal brand marketing totally applies to my co-working space, which is that it's like in today's world, it doesn't really matter what you're selling or what you're creating. It matters more who you're trying to serve. And so from the beginning, we said, okay, well, our mission is to help Columbia's entrepreneurs build thriving businesses. Well, they still need that, right? Even if they can't come into the co-working space. And so immediately when the co-working space, when we had to close it, we started doing, at first it was daily and then it became weekly. We started just doing something, we called it social distancing lunch break. And it was essentially just like a free Zoom call. We said like, hey, grab your lunch, jump on, let's just check in. But it turned into a sort of like a community building event where people were asking questions. They were coming back. I canceled it one day and got an earful. I got some messages from people saying like, "Whoa, but I had questions." Like, and in my mind, I was like, oh, just lunch break. Today's not a good day for it. But it was a really reminder that this was really valuable to people. And so we've started a pop-up Slack community for local business owners to connect and really just say like, okay, what are you doing? How are we going to reopen? How are we going to rethink business? And so, what's working with the co-working space is the same thing that's working online with my blog or with Platform University, is to say like, focus on who you're trying to help. And in moments like this, where the entire world goes on lockdown, where there's a global pandemic, if you're focused on your product too much, it's a lot of work to figure out how to adjust your product to make it more relevant, right? So try to think like, okay, how do I fit my product in today's market? It's more important and more helpful to focus on who you're trying to help, and then think what problems do they have right now, and then it becomes immediately clear how to help them solve those problems. And so yeah, so that's kind of like, that's what I've been up to in terms of just solving problems on that side. Inside of Platform University, by the way, for the last, several years, the idea of having an online business or having a blog or a podcast or an email list, that was like a cool idea to a lot of people, but now it's a necessity. Now it's that your business, is, for a lot of people, their business is just closed. And so they're like, wait, what do we do? And, and they're realizing that having an online side to your business is an insurance policy, so that if your physical business does get closed down, you're still making sales.
There's a lot to unpack in here so far, and I think that you're so right, and I think that people need to realize how huge that is, that idea that you focus on the who and then the what sort of reveals itself, right? Who are you helping out? And that way you don't have to have your product fit in this or that, and it doesn't really outlive its usefulness, because sometimes there are marketing trends, right? Maybe you make this piece of software and then maybe Zoom comes along and then they use that instead. But if you're focusing on, well, this kind of business owner that I'm working with, then you'll know how to market it and what to adjust it. And anytime I get stuck as far as any kind of writer's block, I always go back to that. It's like, who has a problem? And maybe that might be someone that we meet on a Zoom call that you're talking about, right? And I've seen so many of these pop up where like people are using the Facebook groups more, people are using they're just posting a Zoom link, and then in the comments under that Facebook post say, here's the link if you want to join, and these rooms just grow and grow. And yeah, it's like, there's a never-ending supply of little problems. They're not huge problems. They're just little places where people are stuck, and that's just an endless supply of the YouTube videos that we could be cranking out, or the blog posts, or the tweets, or the products, or kind of the sales that are right itself, just by focusing on the problem. So yeah, and I think that's huge. And I think also that I like your thoughts here that, okay, say the business is closed, right? Say the hair salon's closed. That seems to be the topic of the week, right? All these hair salons want to...
Did you notice I was getting a little shaggy?
I mean, I think we all are, but yeah, and it's like, yeah, say the hair salon's closed. I mean, like you said, now it's time to launch the YouTube video, right? And it's like, they have the whole hair salon space behind them. They can probably still go into their establishment. They just can't open their doors. You have your background, you have your props. You can do your little haircutting tutorials or beauty whatever tutorials, and this is the only time when there's not going to be people coming and going and employees and customers. Like, you have the space, the equipment's, yeah, you have your studio, and instead of just letting it sit there and feeling bad that you're paying the rent every month and you're kind of losing money, why not build up this online presence that you probably should have had as a fallback all along?
Yeah, and I mean, we've done that, exactly what you're describing. So you hit the nail on the head, which is that, like, with Platform University, we had been talking for a while, like, hey, we really need to focus more on YouTube. We haven't done a lot there. We have a channel, sort of, maybe it has 100 or so subscribers with some old videos on it, but we should really do something about that. And then the crisis hit, and the great lockdown, as economists are calling it. We can call it coronavirus or COVID-19 or whatever, but the great lockdown hit. And when that happened, all of a sudden we realized, like, wait a second, they need this now. Like, this is not like a trickle out thing. This is not like a gradually roll out thing. So today, actually, as you and I are talking, is day 30 of where we have published a professionally produced video tutorial tip on something specific tactic that you can use to build your audience and make money from your expertise online every single day. So for 30 days straight, we publish a new video every single day. So that YouTube channel that had just kind of sat there for a while with no activity now has over 1,300 subscribers, and it's growing rapidly. And these are people who are just eating it up. And so that's cool for us as a business, but it's also cool just to see these are people we kind of we're sitting in all this expertise, and now all of a sudden people are saying they're realizing that even if they're not business owners whose business is closed. I mean, let's just say that there's someone who got laid off, or there's someone who's working from home, and all of a sudden they're going I don't know. I mean, what do I do? Well, a lot of people are thinking maybe now's the time to start that blog or that podcast or that YouTube channel that I've been thinking about. And so we've leaned into serving them because we have clarity on who we're trying to help, right? That's why it's so easy, because we're if we get clear on who we're trying to help, it's just the question of, okay, well, today versus 2 months ago or 3 months ago, do the people that we're trying to help have more problems or less problems? Because our job is to help them solve problems, right? More. They have so many more problems. And so great. That's what we're here. I mean, like, not great in the sense that we don't wish the problems upon them. We're not creating the problems, but we're saying like our job as entrepreneurs, as teachers, is to solve problems.
And so, out of these past 30 days, you've been making these quick and easy videos just to give us a taste. Like, what has been maybe the most well received, or if you don't know that, the most fun video that has been for you and your team to create this last month?
We did have some fun with some of these, so you're right about, you kind of were right for guessing that. One of the ones that I did, and it was a short one. Well, all of them are pretty short, but I literally, the video starts and I'm like looking at my phone like this, and I'm like, hold on a second, growing my email list. And I just like, and then I go back to it and I'm like, there, and then I say, it's a little old fashioned, but the fastest way to grow your email list when you're just getting started is actually to pull out the phone and text or call people that are in your target audience and just ask them, hey, I'm creating this new thing. Would you like to learn more? I'd love to put you on the list. So we got comments and people saying like, first of all, that the opening was hilarious because I'm like, the video starts and like, it's like I'm ignoring them. I mean, it was just kind of goofy. But then also people were saying like, what do you mean old fashioned? Like, pull out my smartphone. I'm like, it's a little old fashioned. And people were like, what do you mean old fashioned? So we got emails about that one, but people loved it. They thought it was hilarious. And it was also just helpful. I mean, really, we're just saying like the fastest way to grow your audience when you're just getting started is to do things that don't scale. I mean, that's not an original idea, but it's true.
Yeah, it lets you hit the ground running, right? You can do a lot, and by contacting your network, your inner circle, whatever you want to call it. And so, as far as you cranking out these videos, how long are we talking? And like, is there a process to it, or is it just you come up with ideas and whatever fits?
Well, I will say, it's a serendipitous, maybe not ironic. It's not ironic and kind of don't really believe in coincidence, but it's serendipitous that this happened at this time, because actually we produced all of these, like we recorded all these videos, so like scripted and recorded a camera and had all the video files with the editing team in February. So like we actually created all these videos and the plan was to jerk them out one a week, and like whenever we were ready to launch it. Like we didn't really know exactly when the launch date was yet. We were thinking probably sometime late March, maybe in April. And so it's a little weird to say like, yeah, I can show you the process, but like it's almost like we saw this coming. We didn't, but it's almost like we saw this coming, because also, so that's like a public facing. Internally inside of our membership site, because Platform University's primary business model is that we have a membership site where people pay a monthly fee to get access to training and community and coaching on building their online audience and turning that into a business. Inside of the community, we also had built out this whole 90-day jumpstart program that we were launching to help people, get their first 100 email subscribers, make their first sale from a digital product in the next 90 days. We'd already built out this whole program, and we were like ready to like hit go on the inside of the membership site. And we had produced all these videos for the outside, like for the public. And then the coronavirus hit. And then we looked at both of these things and we were like, oh man, now is the time. And so we hit go on both of those and launched them. So we actually worked with a professional team to produce the videos, where like I just showed up on set, talked to the camera. It's named Armosa. It's a good friend of mine, Wes Wages, who runs the company Armosa Studio. They've done great stuff for Michael Hyatt, for Marie Forleo, for Amy Porterfield, for a lot of people. And so they, anyways, they're good people. They produce all these videos and we just like bashed them. And then I just got in front of YouTube and I was like, all right, we're going to learn this. We're going to master this. And we just scheduled out everything with our team. So, yeah, so it's not like a standard practice by any means, because we just like batched everything and we started before we needed it. And that's because we're always thinking like, okay, how can we better serve people? And so here's the kicker, by the way, about all of this content, because it's a lot of content, because each of them is actually like a tip. It's not just me talking or riffing, or it's like literally like, do this thing and you will see this result. Well, that's a lot to produce in 30 days. And it's a lot when you think about the fact that I recorded all of those videos in about 3 hours, despite the fact that I have different wardrobes in the different videos. So what we did was actually we looked at a year's worth of newsletters, because every week we send out a free Teach It Forward newsletter that it's written, it's like article style and has like an example and a tactic, as thing you could do. And we looked at a year's worth of those and pulled out the best of the best. And then I just kind of like had some talking points. Some of them were word for word scripts. So most of the videos were just like talking points of like, remember this Teach It Forward issue. Here was the topic. Like for example, the email subscribers one was like, hey, fastest way to build your email list to get 100 email subscribers is with your phone. And then literally like while we're hitting like record, I was like, wait a second, and I pulled out my phone. I was like, all right, now go, and then I did that first part. I'm really just saying like, we want this to be informational, educational, but we also want it to be entertainment. I mean, it's infotainment, that's like content marketing today is like, it has to be entertaining because there's just so much boring stuff on the internet. We don't need any more of that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a lot to take in, and I can tell from hearing about your thought process and what you've been doing, and like planning ahead and staying consistent and diligent. I can tell that you're a guy with a lot of ideas, right? I mean, you opened
Yeah.
a co-working space almost for fun as like a side project, and
Yeah.
and so like. But I checked on your YouTube channel and your website a few minutes ago, and there was even more crazy stuff, right? Like you have this uncopyright concept on your site where you say, my site just doesn't have any copyrights. I release copyrights, teach it forward.
Yes.
I know that you have an opinion about personal social media accounts. So you have
Yes.
all these ideas, and so out of all the crazy things swirling around, I mean, what's the big idea moving forward into the future? What kind of, with all the things to be working on, like what's on the horizon that maybe is not created yet?
Well, I appreciate you asking that. And I am a thinker, like, and so, I mean, that's like, I think a lot. I mean, it's kind of what I do. I think and I talk for a living, essentially. So, which is a privilege. I'm grateful for that. Um, I, I appreciate the good intentions behind all of the government programs going on right now to try to, recover the American economy and small businesses and all that good stuff, and all over the world. Some version of that's going on over the world. I'm just right now caught up in my own problems here in our own little country. So I'm grateful for that and the good intentions behind that, but I don't really believe that that'll solve any of our problems. I believe it's a band-aid. So I believe what will solve our problems are entrepreneurs, because that's who always solves problems, because entrepreneurs are problem solvers. That's what they do. They go out there and they see a problem, they solve it, and they get compensated accordingly. And so I am passionate. My life's mission is to help entrepreneurs build thriving businesses. Now, directly related to that, for me, that means without sacrificing family life, because I'm myself a family man. I've got 3 beautiful little kids. I say little because they're like little. I mean, I've got like one just turned 5. I've got a 3-year-old, and I've got a 5-month-old. All home all the time right now. No preschool or anything. And then my wife and I are like, our family is really important to us, and that's what drives me as an entrepreneur. And I know that some version of that is true for most entrepreneurs. And there's this idea out there that you kind of have to choose, right? If you're going to be a succeeded business or take care of your family. And I just don't buy it. And so my passion is helping entrepreneurs build thriving businesses. Now, one way to do that is through a platform, is through a blog or a podcast or a YouTube channel or just an email newsletter that you can use to share your expertise with people who need it and make money from doing that. And so that's what we teach at Platform University. And I feel like we teach that really well. I mean, our results show. So, I mean, but by the way, like you mentioned, the book Platform, came out a while back. Yeah, we've been at this a while. I mean, there's a lot of people today who teach you how to like become an Instagram influencer or a TikTok influencer and, make 6 or 7 figures or whatever they promise. We've been teaching, like Platform University as a membership site has been active and teaching thousands of people since 2013, which in internet years is like, I don't know how many decades. But it's a long time. And we serve more than 25,000 students in doing that. So I'm really proud of everything that we've accomplished with that. So Platform University for the online business side. But that's also why I started this co-working space, is because I love the small town I live in, honestly. And I just looked around and I said, man, all the stuff we're teaching in Platform University and all the stuff I've learned about entrepreneurship online, a lot of it translates to these brick and mortar, bookstores and restaurants and hair salons. And that's the bulk of the small business world. Even though a lot of us who like work in digital marketing, like we're always like talking to and listening to these like internet entrepreneurs, that's actually a really small subset of like America's entrepreneurs. So that's why I started the co-working space, was I wanted to help our local community and really just connect to local entrepreneurs. So I'm sure that what you'll see from me in the future is more of the same. Now, right now, like, 2 months ago in my mind, it was like, all right, help the entrepreneurs build thriving businesses. Okay, so right now that's adapted a little bit right now. Right now, I want to help entrepreneurs survive and thrive in the new economy. Because building a thriving business, that's kind of like not on most people's radar right now. Right now they're just trying to figure out how to survive and how to adapt. And so that's really where the, foundation needs to be laid. And so that's, on my own personal YouTube channel and on my blog, that's what I'm talking about with Cowork Columbia and with Platform University. It's really just saying like, how do you adapt? Because there's no snapback to what we had before. I'm not saying what we have right now is the new normal, but if you think about just 9/11 as the most recent example for most of us of just an event that shook our nation, just shook the U.S. and shook the world, we've never gone back to pre 9/11. There's still the TSA in every airport. Allegedly, I haven't been to an airport in a couple months, but allegedly there's still the TSA in every airport. There's still piles of paperwork you have to fill out when you're opening a bank account to say you're not funding terrorism. There's still the Patriot Act. There's all these signs, like they're just like marks on, they're scars on our culture from this big event. And we're going to have something similar to that with coronavirus, with COVID-19, with the Great Lockdown. I don't know what exactly it's going to look like, but this is a new economy and a new world. So how do we adapt to it? And that's the question that I'm asking every day.
Right. And yeah, and I mean, I like the way that you put that, because you hear a lot about that lately they say, things will never go back to the way they were. And sometimes when you watch TV shows, well, the ones that are still coming out, because even TV shows and movies are sort of, I don't know, slowing down. But when you watch a movie or TV show and there's a gathering of 10 plus people, you're like, when's the last time that I see that? No one's wearing masks. No one's rubbing the hand sanitizer. It's weird stuff. And people say it'll never go back to normal. And that sounds scary. But what I'm hearing from you is the new world 3.0, whatever will come out of this, maybe it's been a long time coming, because you hear a lot about how the old way of doing things was working that 9 to 5 until you were 65, or like how you mentioned, you sacrifice the family to do the work. And the new way is some kids these days are pursuing the side hustle, just making enough to pay for them to travel the world. People might have to shift careers again and again, work at a co-working space instead of opening up a huge office, do online stuff, because we're all going to live to 100, and the robots and the self-driving trucks will do whatever. So trying to act like it's still 1900 may not be the best solution. But then all of the, like, what a bit kind of an aha that I heard from you as we're kind of winding down our interview here, but a big aha was that a lot of the things us entrepreneurs have been doing all along, every business owner should have been doing this, right? Every business owner should have been posting a blog, should have been growing their social presence, should have an email list, should have a YouTube channel. And now it's kind of like, well, if they don't have that, now they'll be weeded out. And it even makes me think of when I was looking on your YouTube channel about when you visited all the closed businesses at the town square of your hometown. Some of them just said we're closed, or you just said, I'm just going to read the headlines, but some had the QR codes on the door. Some said, here's the number to call for online delivery. Some said, here's the app, here's the website. And I mean, a confused mind never buys. If some of these places make the curbside or the online ordering difficult, then those would be the businesses that weed it out. And those that adopt the digitalness of today, those are the ones that, like you said, maybe not thrive quite yet, but those are the ones that survive, the ones that embrace a lot of this internet stuff. But in the past, maybe they thought, oh, that doesn't apply to me. And this whole time, Platform University, I'm sure, has been saying, well, no matter what industry you're in, like, you need to be pursuing this internet thing. It's not a fad. If you don't pursue it now, then you'll go by the wayside.
Well, it's a fad just like the automobile or the airplane, right? I mean, there are innovations that stick around for a while. So eventually we may move on but we may move on to flying cars and transportation and transporter devices. I don't know, but we're not there. And the same thing's true for the internet. We're still reliant on this as how we connect to people and how we do business and how we do life. So you summarized very well. I think what I'm trying to say really, which is just that there's not really anything radically new about what I'm saying or what I'm teaching versus 3 months ago. It's just more relevant than ever. And more people are listening. I mean, even people who've been in Platform University as paying members for years and kind of like planned on getting into it. Well, right now they're into it. I mean, right now we have over 100 posts a day for more than 2,000 users inside of our student community, where it's more active now than I've seen, since 2013. Well, actually ever. So yeah, it's kind of fun to see, but that's a challenge for us to resource, of course, but that's our problem. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, and it's a good problem to have, and it
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of being back in school when maybe you had a stressful test coming up or a final project, or you had to study for exams, and sometimes it's crunch time, right? And it doesn't
Yep.
mean that you have to let the stress get the best of you. It doesn't mean it will always be like this, but sometimes there's just a period of you have to pick up the pace slightly, and then you get that result, and then you can take a little bit of a little bit of a break. So maybe it's time for some of these businesses to, like you said, finally, maybe they've been in Platform University all these years. Maybe they only visited, they logged in like once a month just to see what was new. Now, hey, it's time to actually like take some
Yep.
steps and assign some tasks to the virtual assistant and get some stuff implemented. And platformuniversity.com is the place to go. And you said there's tons of videos, tons of community. I mean, so is there a way just to say in like maybe 5 or 6 bullet points what people get inside Platform University?
Yeah, what Platform University is all about is helping you translate your expertise, which by the way, first you might not know what that is, right? So we help you identify that. But translate your expertise into an online income in terms of products or services. We walk you through creating a website, an email list, a content strategy, social media as it relates to building your email list, which we didn't get to talk too much about that, but just kind of showing my cards there. And also launching digital products like an online course. So we walk you through step by step. We have a step-by-step curriculum that you can go through in 30 minutes a day to make progress. Now, right now, you may have more than 30 minutes a day, and you may be like, I want to you binge this, and that's great. Go for it. Put in the work. There's a lot of people who are doing that right now. So, but we actually, up until recently, Platform University, we only open enrollment once or twice a year. But because there's so much demand right now, we actually just opened the gates and we said, look, it's just open. Like, we're just here to help. And so we even did something we've never done before, which is we now have a $1 trial option for people who want to just check it out. So you can find information about that at platformuniversity.com/Robert Plank. Or you can also, if a dollar is too much to ask right now, you can still subscribe to our free newsletter. And we have other resources there to help you, including an online income checklist, which is a 7-step action plan to quickly generate revenue from a blog, a vlog, or podcast if you already have one.
And where do people find that freebie to sign up for?
That's right there at platformuniversity.com/Robert Plank.
All right, super cool. So platformuniversity.com/Robert Plank is the place to claim that $1 trial, to get that free resource, and then johnmeese.com, that is JOHNMEESE.com, if you want to see even the overflow of the marketing ideas and things that don't even fit into the 30-day video or the 90-day challenge. And like John has been saying, this is the time to step up your game and figure out what you need to do. And what's always good is now that we've all figured out the video chat, the Zoom, the Facebook groups, the membership sites, you're not alone. There are other people going through the same thing as you are, but you need to be doing some of these things, especially building the email list. JohnMeese.com and platformuniversity.com
Right.
/Robert Plank. Two P's, easy to get it mixed up. Platformuniversity.com /Robert Plank. Anything to say, John, before we wrap up, wind down here? Any parting thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to encourage anybody who's listening that if you're an individual, like marketer, whether you work for a company or an agency or you're a freelancer, what you do is, your job is to really spread the good news. And so right now, I think it's a job for all of us to look around at where we can help people solve problems, where the businesses that we work with can help people solve problems, and just communicate that through that lens with empathy and intelligence, and just recognize that everybody on the other end who's receiving this information is a real human being with real problems right now. And we got to make sure that we're not tone deaf to that. I mean, we got to make sure that doesn't mean we don't sell. That doesn't mean we stop selling, because what we're selling is the solution to their problem, right? And if it is, then how dare you keep that from them? Get out there and sell that stuff.